Alrighty, well on this next piece, I want to interpret both the interval and the confidence level. So I'm going to start with the interval first. Actually, just kidding. I'm going to do the confidence level first. So it's a 95%. So that tells me if many samples were taken, so in repeated sampling, and I can say this in an assortment of ways, and I probably will, so you need to pick one that works for you that you can remember and stick with that. So I could say in repeated sampling, or if many samples were taken. "95% of them would capture the true population proportion period." And now to do the confidence interval. The confidence interval is actually more specific, and the way that I like to word it is 95% of all. I can either use intervals, that's what we were drawing on the last page, or samples, either one, will capture the true population proportion, and here's where it gets specific, of Americans who approve of Obama, which lies somewhere between 41% and 47%. And the way I got that was I did 44 plus 3 to get the 47, and I did 41 minus 3 to get the 41. So there are some conditions that I need to check in order to calculate a confidence interval. You've already been checking some of these conditions. So the first one is I must have an SRS, or I've just completely jacked up my entire data collection. So if it doesn't say that the data came from an SRS, then we're going to say proceed with caution and do the analysis anyway. But we will at least note, hey, whoever collected this data wasn't so smart. And then the second one is my normality check. So we've already been doing this in the last chapter. If it's a p hat, remember we checked n times p greater than or equal to 10 and n times 1 minus p greater than or equal to 10. The new little twist on that is we won't have a p. We might later in something else, but right now we're not really going to know the population proportion. That's what we're trying to estimate. So on these checks, we're going to have to use p hat because it's all we're going to have. And then x bar, we're still using central limit theorem or checking to see if mama is normal. And then of course the third one is our checking to see if the population is greater than or equal to 10 times the sample size. In other words, I don't want to oversample, and we use this every time we actually calculate the standard deviation. And the last one is independence. This one you'll just sort of have to assume or see if it makes logical sense, but your data values can't affect each other. Otherwise, it messes with your probability. So independence is actually quite important.